Welcome to this exercise on the BCG matrix. Here we have information for four different business units of our company. And for each business unit, we have for 2 years, 21 and 24, the sales data for our company and for the respective competitors. And what are we supposed to do with this information? Well, first we are asked to construct a BCG matrix where we then place our four business units. Since one of the dimensions of this matrix requires the relative market growth, we also need an information on the inflation rate, which here can be assumed to be 1.4%. So with this information, we're ready to start. So I'm just going to copy the data from before. Now we can calculate the first two types of data, which is the relative market share and the real growth rate of the market. The relative market share is quite easy and relatively fast done. Why? Because here we're working for 24. So we consider the 24 data for our company and the 24 data for the competitor. Now we simply divide our values by the competitor values. So 14 by 11, giving me 1.27, 23 by 16, 1.44, 18 by 15, and 11 by 22. So that was quick and easy. For the real growth rate, we have to do a bit more work. Well, since it's the market growth we're talking about, we need to know the size of the market in both years. So for each year, we're going to add up the sales numbers for our company and from the competitors. So we get for 21, 13 plus 10, and for 22, 14 plus 11. So we have a market in 24 of 25. And in 21 of 23. That's for business unit A for this market segment. And then to calculate this, we first start with the nominal market growth rate. And this we can determine by going 25, so the new value, divided by 23, the old market value. Since we have 3 years between new and old value, we're going to take this to the power of 1 divided by 3 years. So 1/3. Well, 25 divided by 23 to the power of 1/3. Power of 1/3, we could also take the third root of the value. The result will be 1.0282. That is the yearly nominal growth factor. To get to the growth rate, we have to subtract 1. So then we have a nominal growth rate of 0.0282. Well, that's the nominal growth rate. From the nominal growth rate, we have to subtract the inflation rate to get to the real growth rate. So 0.0282 minus 0.014, so the 1.4% inflation rate, gives me a real growth rate of 1.42%. Now we're going to do the same thing for the other 3 business units as well. 23 plus 16 divided by 21 plus 15, so 39 divided by 36 to the power of 1/3 growth factor minus 1 nominal growth rate minus inflation rate of 1.4%, giving me the real growth rate of 1.3. Same thing for C. 18 plus 15 divided by 18 plus 12, so 33 divided by 30 to the power of 1/3 minus 1 minus inflation rate of 1.4%, gives me 1.83%. Finally, 33 divided by 24 to the power of 1/3 gives me growth factor minus 1, gives me the nominal growth rate, minus 0.014, 1.4%. Inflation gives me the real growth rate here of 9.8%. That's all the calculations we have to do. And now we can discuss where to draw a line. So where are the critical thresholds for each of those two characteristics? Well, for market share, there's a natural threshold at 1. If it's larger than 1, we are market leader. If it's smaller than 1, the competition is leading the market. So I'm just one of the companies. Well, or rather, I have a share larger than the rest of the competition, or smaller. With the growth rate, we can draw a natural line at 0, so shrinking markets, growing markets. But if you're a consulting agency, you want to only find those markets where there's a lot of growth potential, so who really overperform the market. Well, if we consider something like DAX, German stock index, he performs with on average something like 6%. So we would set 6% as a threshold. Boston Consulting set something of 6-7%, which they say should be minimum acceptable growth rate. So there are different arguments when it's actually a really growing and worthwhile market. Here we work with the natural threshold of 0%, or plus minus shrinking our growing market. Well, this means we have the first 3 business units, market leader in growing markets, so we have 3 stars. Some parts where I do not have a large market share, but it's a strongly growing market, so this leaves it as a question mark. And then we just have to place them in a matrix. The BCG matrix, however, has one added benefit. It can actually show 3 dimensions and not only 2. So those are the 2 axes. But if I use these volumes here, as in the size of the bubbles in the matrix, I can also represent how important each of these business units are for my company. We're going to see this on the next slide. So here I have the data from before, the matrix. That's the 3 stars. That's my question mark. And I see here the size of the bubbles is related to the volume of the respective business unit. Well, this helps me also make decisions, because even here, small business units which perform as poor dogs might not be as critical as a big business unit who lies down here. And especially, well, I want to have stars or cash cows. So I want to have large business units in these 2 quadrants. Ideally, smaller ones here. If it's the other way around, then I should really thinking about changing my business portfolio or doing some decided changes in my management and my company in general. So this additional 3rd dimension might provide an additional helpful insight as well. Well, that's done. Everything there is to mention on this exercise. So we're doing quite well with 3 relatively large parts as stars, only 1, but in a strongly growing market as a question mark. Well, that concludes the exercise. Hope you enjoyed it. I say goodbye and see you next time.